Hey everyone, it's Cheryl Meadow here back again with another review, and this time we'll be taking a look at the brand new G.I. Joe film, Snake Eyes, a G.I. Joe Origins, and this is a full-on reboot of this G.I. Joe films, and it is a origin film for Snake Eyes, the character, and in this one it stars Henry Golding as Snake Eyes, Andrew Koji, Yurisa Cabrera, Samantha Weeding, Uko Iwas, and many, many more. And in this one, it is a full-on origin story of the character Snake Eyes, and as he is this loner guy until he meets Andrew Coach's character Storm Shadow, and you know, Henry Golding's character Snake Eyes saves Storm Shadow's character, but Storm Shadow introduces him to the Arashikage clan. And in that clan, Snake Eyes must become the ultimate warrior he is meant to be. And in this movie, it goes back and forth. It introduces the Cobra organization, the G.I. Joe organization. It talks about his past and introduces other things as other characters that are in this as well. So that's the story of G.I. Joe Origins. So when I first heard that they're going to do a Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins film, I was like totally pumped to see what they could do with this, because I mean, I really like the G.I. Joe films from the 2009 and 2013. There were really some really cool characters, and Snake Eyes was such a badass character in those two, and to see an origin film of that character, I was like totally pumped to see what they could do with this and how it would roll. And it was going to be a reboot, so it was going to be completely different from the other films. And I was totally pumped and to see how they could set up this new universe, and to see how they could set up Snake Eyes as this character. I was totally pumped. And then they got the final. Then they went into production. They announced the cast. Henry Golding was Snake Eyes, and then the movie was gonna come out in October 2020. Then got delayed to October 2021, and then they moved it up to July. And then we got our first trailer in May, and the trailer looked so badass and cool. The action looked cool, and it was just so badass. And honestly, I hoped I wasn't gonna be disappointed. They didn't show much, which is great, and I was so happy about that. And I was happy that we finally got something really badass and cool. And no matter how short the marketing was, I couldn't wait to see what they could be on, what the movie was gonna be, the full movie was gonna be like. And now the movie's here, and the trailer and the movie, it's the complete opposite. And I gotta say, the trailer was so much better than the movie. And the movie, Snake Eyes, is a complete disappointment. And honestly, I was expecting so much more, and I thought the movie was going to be so much better, but I guess I was wrong. And the movie is it was just a complete disappointment. So let's get right off the bat. I'm going to start off with the negatives first, and then get into the positives for the last part, instead of, starting off with the positives. I'm really going to go mostly into the negatives first. And really, there is a lot to talk about with the negatives. So the movie has really an inconsistent pacing, and the movie has lots of plot points that were just completely unnecessary and just not even that cool, man. And honestly, I was completely disappointed, and the pacing of the movie just felt so weird, and the plot points were just, some of them were completely unnecessary. So the movie, as you know, Snake Eyes, the character, Henry Golding's character, the Snake Eyes, he is trained to become a warrior. But the thing is about that, the training to become a warrior and the 3 challenges in the movie, the challenges are completely dumb and stupid. And I won't really get into that, but they're just completely dumb. And I thought it was going to be much more badass than those challenges in the movie, because if they would have had some badass challenges, up to 3 badass challenges in the movie, I would be like, dang, this is what really makes the movie an origin story of origin stories. And I was just disappointed because the challenges in the movie weren't cool. And the thing is about the challenges in the movie, they don't have it all together like, in other origin stories where it's like everything is like it shows how he trains to become this a warrior. The film, without really getting into much detail, the the different types of the different types of challenges in the movie, they're completely separate. They're completely like there'd be one scene with a training, and then another scene that was completely unrelated, that just completely just was like unnecessary, and then gets back into the training, and then there's a completely unnecessary scene and gets back into the training, and you need a movie where you have the training all together, and it was completely disappointing that they didn't have a training all together in a full like a full montage of training, and I think it would have been cool to see that, but we didn't get the chances. We don't get to see it in this film, and I was very disappointed. And it would have been really badass to see it in this movie, a full-on training montage of how he becomes this ultimate warrior. And yeah, it really is it's really disappointing, and that's what really makes this film not not a way to make an origin story. And honestly, it was that's not exactly what you want. You want to have a full consistent montage of the training, and that's what really just didn't get to me. um so so that's really that. And other things besides the training, the plot points in the movie, there were some really unnecessary plot points in the movie, and they were constantly mixed up, and I couldn't get myself interested in which type of like plot points in the movie. I don't know how you say this, but like the different types of plot points in the movie, I felt like I couldn't get myself invested in one of them. Like I tried to get my invested with one of these plot points in the movie, but it was just very hard. And you don't want to have all different types of plot points because the movie, it just ruins the movie. But there's all the plot points in the movie are just so mixed up, so like insanely, how do I say it? It's just all over the place, and you try to get interested in one thing, and then you try to get interested in another, but it's just too much, and it's you don't want that in the movie. And that's exactly what went wrong with this, is that they put too many plot points, and it really just ruined the movie. And if they didn't include so many plot points in the movie, it just would have been, I think, like, it would have been much more interesting and really good to do, because you never want to have that many plot points in the movie. And just overall, the movie was just completely mixed. So many things were happening. It didn't feel like it. I didn't know if I was acting. I didn't even know if I was watching an origin story. I honestly didn't know, and that was very disappointing. I was very, very disappointed by that. And I feel like if they had a consistent flow of the origin story, like other origin stories, for example, Doctor Strange or Batman, how they become an ultimate warrior and nothing's ever mixed up. They try their best to become the ultimate warrior. Then, I feel like it would have been cool, and it would have made much more sense. But you know what I mean when you watch the movie. When you see the review, then you know what I'm exactly talking about. So yeah, or when you see the movie, when you know exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, and man, and that's that. That's that. And besides the whole three challenges of warrior and the plot points, now thinking about it, the origin story was just completely unnecessary. And something, honestly, I feel like they should have used the original story from the comics, or from the movie you see in the movie, where he's born into the clan, not introduced into the clan, but he's born into the clan. And I feel like it would have been so much better. And instead of just doing it in origin story, I feel like it would have been something, it would have been better to have it that way, and not an origin story. And I know that's what really got fans a little bit mad, is that it doesn't really follow the original story of the Snake Eyes character, because as you know, the Snake Eyes is born into the clan, not introduced. And that was not thinking about it. I'm not happy, and I know you guys aren't happy. But in my opinion, there were other aspects of the movie that really from the comics I feel like they implemented well, which I will talk about later. But yeah, that was really not that was thinking about it, Ace origin story was completely unnecessary. And now I'm gonna go to the rest of the negatives of the movie. So I'm gonna go as fast as I can with the other negatives. So let's get right into it. As you guys know, there were some cheesy scenes in the movie. Just letting you guys know, there were some cheesy scenes that were completely unnecessary, and in the trailers, most of everything was completely serious. I mean, it was over the top. It was completely serious, but in this, there were a couple unnecessary cheesy scenes, and I felt like it was you know completely unnecessary and not cool. But I mean, it is an origin story, so it is an origin story, and it is GI Joe, so you know that. But I feel like the trailers just made everything look serious and look badass, and you didn't need to really put anything of the goofy stuff in this already. And I think it would have been better that way, in my opinion. So, yeah, in my opinion, instead of just introducing some goofy stuff, I mean, it was over top in the first teaser, but just in the full movie, the whole cheesy stuff, I think it was completely the cheesy stuff in the movie was completely unnecessary, and I wasn't happy about that. And then we got the action scenes, which was very much shaky cam, and honestly, I did not like the shaky cam. And the thing is that the action scenes in the trailer looked much more badass in this, and in this it's like it's shaky cam left and right, and it was completely necessary and just it's kind of stupid, and you never want to have a shaky cam in an action movie like this one. So yeah, and there was also some cheesy acting as well, just like the cheesy acting in not cheesy acting, the like just like what I said about the whole cheesy stuff in the movie, the cheesy things that happen in the movie. There's also some cheesy acting. I mean, there were some actors that did a good job, but there's some actors that didn't do a great job. Yeah, there was some cheesy acting. And then last but not least, I gotta get right into this and say that Henry Golding, as much as I respect this actor and I think he has a lot of potential in the future, this role just doesn't fit him, man. Like, honestly, I feel like if they used a better actor and somebody just way more badass, I think it would have been cool. But I mean, listen, he did his job, and he did the best he can offer, and I was really happy about that. I mean, he did that, and I was happy about that. But it just sucks that, how do I say this, that he just, in my opinion, I just didn't feel like he could deliver, and there were so many better actors that were suited for this role than him. Um, if you know the GI Joe film, it's like he's basically mostly silent, and but he's still a badass. And this, I know it's supposed to be like an origin story, but if they would have you did something like completely different. I mean, actually make it into, now thinking about it, make it into like a different type of origin story. But keep the original story from the root comics in this, and do something unique with it. But if they would have chose I mean, let's get back into the actor. Honestly, if they chose a different actor for this role, I think it would have been much better, and like a serious actor. I can't really think of him in my head, but I honestly think it would have been so much better, and I think it would have been necessary to have a much more serious actor than him. Sorry, but yeah, and then that's really about it for the negative. So yeah, I'm tired of saying all these negatives, and now let's get right into the positives. So honestly, I liked that they used some comic accurate characters in the movie. Now, the actress who plays Baroness Ursula, how do you say her last? How do you say her last name? Now I forgot her last name in the movie. Um, dang it, now I'm on the actress who plays Baroness, Yusara Cabrera. I think she did such an awesome job, and she was pure evil. Like in the original, in the original GI Joe films, like she wasn't evil. She kind of had a heart, and she was like, spoiler alert, she was like brainwashed, but she's like completely evil, and that was badass. And I like that they did that, and she did a great job as a Baroness. And then we have Peter Mensai. I think that's how you say his name. He also did such a cool job as Blind Master, and he was really cool in the movie, and he was a perfect choice for Blind Master. And RZA, which honestly was very in the original, he was in the original GI Joe film. He was kind of cheesy, but in this he really felt like a cool master, and he was pretty awesome, and I think he did such a cool job as the Blind Master in this film. And then Uko Uwas as a hard master. He also was pretty badass in the movie, and I think he did such a cool job. Even though in the comics he's supposed to be, I think, an old guy, but it doesn't matter. He did such a cool job as that. I'll let that one slide as well. So yeah, I mean there are some certain things that are comic accurate like that, and Cobra in the movie was cool, and the GI Joes in the movie were cool, and then Samara Weaving as Scarlet. She also did a really good job as Scarlet, and yeah, that's really all I have to say about the comic accurate stuff. I mean, there were some really cool sequences in the movie. My favorite one was as you've seen in the teaser, the car sequences, the car chases. Those are pretty badass and so cool. And I think they did such a cool job with that. I was really happy about that. And that's really what really made the movie super cool and badass. That sequence, and yeah, and all those other scenes the other scene in the movie, the beginning, the fight scene in the other trailer, the cage fight scene, that was also pretty badass as well. So yeah, and also that the one in the trailer, where he's fighting, where Storm Shadow is fighting Akio in the movie. That was also pretty badass. So yeah, I mean there were some really badass sequences, and there were some really cool, what how do you say it, some really cool comic accurate things, the and Japan looked badass, and all that. Uh, yeah, honestly, I think that's what really made the movie cool, and I think they did such a cool job with that, and I was really happy about that. So yeah, but now let's get right into the overall verdict of the film. So Snake Eyes, I was very disappointed with this film. I think it could have been more, and I think it would have done a cool job if it wasn't really like an origin story, and they would have did a different actor, and there weren't so many plot points, and just the free challenges would have been way cooler. I think it would have sold me if they put different directions to it and just made it like it's not all mixed up, and all that. And yeah, but I mean there were certain aspects of the movie I think they did well with, and I was really happy with that. And yeah, I mean the movie it really could have been so much better, and they could have did something, but yeah, it didn't, you know, it didn't hit it for me, and I know it didn't hit for you guys, and I think it just would have been better if they had like, if they switched it around or did something, if they worked a little bit, if they worked a little, how do you say it? I don't want to be sounding like a total ass, but I know they worked hard with this. If they switched it around, if they did it with the movie, if they made something a little bit better with the story, I think the movie would have been way better. And yeah, so honestly, that's my review of the Snake Eyes. I'm gonna give the movie a 4.5 out of 10. If you're a Snake Eyes fan, there will be certain aspects of the movie you will like, but mostly the other parts are very disappointing. And yeah, and also if you're looking for an action film, this is was if you see it the first time but don't see it the second time. I saw this the first time, and I wouldn't recommend it saying the second time. So yeah, honestly, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and peace.